Hello and welcome back to the Well-Fed Business Podcast. We are
The
completely and
world's
utterly low
best
energy
podcast.
today. The world's best, most popular business podcast. We have hardly said two words to each other. The grump on your face and the click-clacking of the keyboard tells me everything I need to know. And I will speak for
That's
myself.
because I don't like you, mate. Oh, so you're projecting.
You can tell everyone why you don't like me once I've finished the intro, you fuck. Today we're going to be talking about why your marketing sucks. Why most marketers, and therefore definitely your average business owner, doesn't know what actual marketing is. And we're going to be telling you exactly what it is so you can get it sorted right away. Now back to the argument. Fuck you, you prick.
Okay. Do you know why? Well, to be fair, if I was to tell people why I didn't like you, it would be a very long podcast because it's a very long list, Connor.
It would.
It would. So I'm sorry and all that. I've tried to keep it quiet. I've tried to work through it, but frankly, you're just a twat.
This is so low energy, it's painful.
It is really.
Increase your vibration, mate.
Open this email. I miss you. Oh, I tell you what, it does make me laugh when people.
Can you
talk
stop
about
working? Can
I'm
you
not
stop working and do the podcast? You're reading my email that I sent yesterday.
I was reading your email. I was waiting for you to do something sensible. Anyway, why does your marketing suck? I tell you why marketing sucks, because most people don't know what fucking marketing is. That's why. I think the internet is a wonderful thing. The internet gives us unparalleled, unfettered access to literally billions of people at the click of a mouse for free, basically. But that's also the downside of it, because it means the barrier to entry for business is incredibly low, which is a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not being elitist about this. But the downside of that is people get into business and go into business without bothering to learn the business skills. You know, there's two sides to running a business. There's the thing you do as a practitioner or a technician, and then there's the business side of things into which that fits. Now, when we work with people, you know, a lot of people niche in our industry. They're niche into, like Terry and Drew, they've niched into recruiters. We haven't really niched. We did a little bit with construction and freelancers, but we've got all sorts, for instance, on Call Control, from salespeople to electricians to freelance copywriters. To, you know, we've got sales professionals, all sorts. And the reason we can do that is that the principles of marketing hold true no matter what industry you're in. And the mistake people make is largely through ignorance, but it's kind of willful ignorance, because they'll go online and try and find out how to market. And what they'll do is they'll ask on social media, and they'll get advice from people who also don't know how to market. And they only know because they've asked in the past, how do I market my business? And what it boils down to these days is it's the social media equivalent of image advertising, just putting your stuff out there. Hence all these fucking annoying vulnerability posts. Well, it is a form of marketing, yes, but it's not effective marketing. You know. Now, marketing is very simple. We've talked about this before, the 16 or 15-word marketing plan. The right message to the right person at the right time and over the right medium, and that's it. Now, it doesn't get any simpler than that. And if you then put social media marketing, as they call it, into that context, you'll realize social media marketing, as it's commonly practiced and understood, isn't really marketing, not effective. It's not targeted, because let's just take the message. What is the message people put out there? Well, it's just about how shitty they're feeling, or how they've had an ice cream latte, or whatever it is these days, or how vulnerable they're feeling, or how shit their lives are, or how they're struggling, or just is a long shopping list of shit they will talk about, other than their prospects' problems, the fact they have a solution and understand that problem, and how to get in touch with them to solve it, to get them their help to solve it. So yeah, that doesn't work. And then the right person, well, again, social media, LinkedIn is a great example, probably the best example. If you go onto social media, onto LinkedIn, and start writing about your depression, for example, and this is not to dismiss depression or minimize depression in any way, shape, or form. It's just to point out that writing about it isn't good marketing. Never mind the human side of it is I don't want to put my business in the hands of someone who's a basket case. It's my livelihood. I want someone who's actually compos mentis and is going to get the job done. My my empathy and support has got limits. Well, actually, my empathy has got zero limit because I don't have any. But so the right market is if you start writing about your vulnerability or depression or all these things. I climbed Ben Nevis today and broke my ankle. You're going to, or politics or abortion, all these things. If that's all you post about, or your tattoos, I mean, that's a good one. You see people with nothing of substance to say. So what they will say is me being young, gay, transsexual, having tattoos, having bling, having blue hair, all these things do not make me unprofessional. Well, you're absolutely right, they don't. But neither do they make you professional. They're irrelevant to whether or not you can solve my problem. So if you write about those things in the hope of attracting business, what you will do is you will attract everyone who's interested in writing about those things. Now, the sets may intersect. There may be some people who like that kind of stuff who also might be good targets for you. But it's very hit and miss. And it's certainly, out of 1,000 people on your follower list, you maybe get 5 or 10 instead of having 900 people who are interested in your message because you've constructed that way and you've constructed your audience that way. The right time, well, the right time is always now because we can never determine when a prospect or a client is ready to buy. We cannot compel them, despite what a lot of copywriters like to think they can do with their words. So really, this is why we just need to keep putting the message out there over and over again. And another mistake people make is they think their content has to be fresh and new and exciting. Well, it doesn't. It has to be on point because the same message will resonate with different people on different days. The day that Fred Blogs wakes up wanting to solve his fucking fat belly problem will be the day he speaks to Phil Agostino. And if Phil has been putting out the same message every day for the last 2 years, well, that's the day that person will respond to it. All the rest of the time, we'll just ignore it. So it's quite safe to keep repeating the same message over and over again with a nod to the rules against spam on the platform you're dealing with. So, if you post the same thing every day at the same time, you'll probably get hit with the spam warning. But if you do it maybe once every 28 days, the very same post word for word, and rotate them like I do, you won't. And of course, the right medium, that's even more complex. People assume, I'm going to do some Facebook advertising. Why? Because that's what you're supposed to do. Well, okay, your audience is possibly on Facebook, most likely, but can you reach them? Well, reaching freelancers on Facebook is actually very difficult, as we've found. You should be advertising where your target market is looking, not necessarily what's popular, and the places that are popular in the moment, which would be, I don't know, what's popular these days, Connor? Periscope, is that still going? LinkedIn, Facebook,
social media?
Instagram, all the usual suspects. Yeah.
Yeah, all the usual ones at the moment.
But, it's for instance, turning that round slightly, when Phil Agostino started posting on TikTok, bearing in mind his target market is blokes like me, I thought at first it probably wouldn't work for him, but you won't know until you try it. As it is, it's turned out really well. And if I think about it now, I can see why I was wrong in hindsight, because the guys of my age tend to be hanging around on TikTok because they're pervy old bastards who like watching young girls dancing.
Yeah, as much as they'll tell you, no, that's not the case. I'm there for education. Lawyer.
It's insidious. Yeah. It's insidious, isn't it? I mean, I have a TikTok account and we use it for the business, but I don't log in. I don't even know what my login is, I don't think. And that's deliberate because if I have that on my phone, I will get lured into watching young girls dancing too because it's pleasant, it's fun, and it's easy. And it's nice, But it is. Right? What red-blooded bloke of my age wouldn't want to watch a young women dancing? I don't mean girls, I mean young women. Well, of course we do. It's just a normal thing. But equally, I don't want to waste my time doing it because it ain't going anywhere, is it? And I know from other people's experience, they can spend hours scrolling through reels on Instagram and whatever the equivalent is on TikTok. And we know the damage it can cause as well from what we've learned from Andrew Huberman.
Yeah, that's I I've definitely fallen victim to it. Like I will not pretend to be holier than thou. I have definitely fell victim to the doom scrolling, and I feel myself when you close it. You're like, where did that time just go? It's a literal time suck. Such a waste of time, and you feel like shit after. So bad. I've set up the screen time thing again on my phone, so I have to ask my phone for more time on my phone now. And every time I open an app, it asks for my passcode. So I have to be very conscious with what I'm doing. I also put it back in black and white. Put my phone back in black and white, so it looks less like a slot machine with all the nice bright colours and everything. It fires off fewer dopamine receptors.
I didn't even know you could do that.
I'll show you how. It's very simple. Very simple.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I mean,
And it's working already. Oh, and another thing I did that on my home screen now, I just have one giant widget, which is my screen time. So there's no apps or anything on my home screen on my iPhone. It just shows me like 50 minutes or something,
the
how long
smoking
you've been on
gun.
your phone for already that day. Yeah, and it's like the guilt instantly sucks it, like instantly sits in because it's the first thing I see, and I'm like, oh God, I've been on my phone for hours already. It's bad. It's really fucking bad.
Well, what do you do on it? We got onto this by talking about the insidious nature of social media. Do you remember at the event we had in June, and then we had the Elite Day on the Monday and the Tuesday, and the lady who was with us then, she said she'd taken our advice about 2 weeks before, and already it was making a massive difference to her mental health and the way she was thinking and her productivity. Well, it's true. And okay, we're getting off the topic a little bit about marketing, but right message, right medium, right time, right person. That is going to be massively helped and facilitated by getting off social media and stopping using it as a recreational tool. Because Mrs. EBG, she stopped using Instagram, and there were times she'd sit there just flicking through it aimlessly, and it used to depress her. I said to her, "Why don't you just stop doing it?" Now I'll tell you why people don't stop doing it. It's fear of missing out. And they have said this to me. I mean, people have said, well, if you post, I guarantee if you post, say, on LinkedIn about your quitting social media, some of the people will post and say how brave you are, and I could never do it. And because I've seen this happen. I didn't do it, but I've seen people do it. What's brave about it? Honestly, you are disconnecting from a fucking poisonous stream of shit coming out your phone and your desktop. There's nothing brave about it at all. It shows how addicted they are. And yes, I am being contemptuous. I'm being contemptuous with the righteousness of being social media free for the last, I don't know, 8-7 months or so, for the most part. I do go onto LinkedIn to do stuff, but otherwise I just don't bother. It is designed for, absolutely, it's designed for the purpose.
To give you, yeah, and it's designed to give you almost a low-level anxiety to increase the anticipation of the reward when you finally stumble upon
Of course it
something
is.
good. So that dopamine spike is even more aggressive and high. You're saying, of course it is. I know you know, mate. There's several cunts listening to this that ain't. They need to learn what it's doing. What it's doing. You know, you don't just blindly eat everything. Well, some fat cunts do. You don't blindly just eat everything that's put in front of you. You ask questions. Well, what's in it?
Well, actually, that's a really good point. It's going back to what we were saying in the previous, in the previous episode about critical thinking. If the thought of going even cold turkey or even limiting your social media access or use, if that's leaving you feeling anxious, ask yourself why. What am I getting from social media? And please don't tell me it's to keep in touch with friends. Because if you tell me that, I'll ask you, okay, so what proportion of your time do you spend actually interacting with your friends, and how much time do you spend doing the doom scrolling, as Connor's called it? Yeah, and I'll guarantee they maybe look at their friends' feed and maybe like a couple of posts, possibly even comment. but I would probably guess that 90% of their time is looking at strangers living false lives on the internet. I guarantee it. Young women dancing, young blokes dancing. I don't fucking know. It doesn't matter. It's just bollocks, man. You are lying to yourself if you're telling me it's to keep up with friends. If you wanted to keep up with friends and that was genuine, you'd probably use WhatsApp. You would. You talk to them if yeah. I don't talk to my friends very often, but I keep up with them on WhatsApp. Same with the kids. I don't talk to my kids very often. I talk to Holly every day, nearly. But you know.
It's another thing is, and this is probably going more back to LinkedIn and the self promotion. There is, you are nowhere near as interesting as you think you are. No one's going to miss you. Stop talking about yourself so much. You are really not that interesting. You should be on LinkedIn purely to do business. If you're treating it as a platform to do anything other than business on, you've got the whole thing twisted and fucked up in the first place. That's major error at number one. Major error at number two is thinking you are so fucking important that all you need to talk about is yourself.
Well, one of my clients wanted to become an influencer. She did a consultation with me, and I told her I wouldn't help her do that because I think it's just I'd be kind of out of my lane anyway, really, and it's not something I want to do anyway. I didn't want to help her even if I could, not to do that. And anyway, she posted it a while ago. She had done an experiment, and she had 1 million views, and she had all the stats: 1 million views, this many followers and things. And she said, and it's done nothing for my business. Yeah? And she's a high-end copywriter. I mean, she's reckons she's doing $1 million a year. I don't know if that's true or not. It doesn't matter. But the fact is, I know she's got some very high-profile clients, and she did 1 million. And she's very attractive, so she is an influencer-like, if you like. She's got all the moving parts work, but she did 1 million views on LinkedIn, and it didn't do anything for her business. Well, in contrast, some of my posts get seen by about 150 people, I guess, because it just comes up. I probably get a couple of 3 messages a day. I get very little interaction. If more than 20 people comment or like one of my posts, it's something to write home about, you know. But we sell 3 or 4 books every single day, you know, and those book buyers turn into core controllers or core 28ers and eventually work their way up into elite or mentoring, one-on-one mentoring. So, you know, the idea you need to be popular and you need to be doing all this guff to get engagement is absolutely wrong. One of my clients is in the mentoring group. His engagement, when he started doing things the way I told him to do it on LinkedIn, bearing in mind he was very popular, his engagement went down by 90%. Right? Shock fucking horror. People would think that's a disaster. Yeah, but his income doubled. You know, what do you want, Connor? I'd ask anyone here. What do you want? Do you want the engagement and the fucking notoriety and all the popularity, or would you rather have double the income? Your choice. I mean, it'd be nice if you could have both, I suppose. And I suppose if you want to be an influencer yourself, teaching others to become influencers, you can have both. But I think that's probably the only endeavor, the only human endeavor where you can market yourself in that way and sell the same thing. Just bear in mind, it's like gender studies. The only purpose of gender studies is to make more people turn out gender studies lecturers because it's fuck all use for anything else.
It's very self-flating.
So marketing is not difficult. Another thing people don't do as well is, well, there's lots of things they don't do, but another thing they don't do is they don't stick at it long enough. You know, you hit the nail on the head when you said people aren't interested in you.
Yeah.
You know, people think I've got 10,000 followers, but I bet maybe 1,000 of them maybe see your posts every day, and probably out of that 1,000, maybe 100 actually read them, and out of that 100 who read them, maybe 1 gives a shit. You know, the stats are horrendous like that because you're talking about yourself and not them.
And the reason, one of the reasons that people then revert talking about themselves, even if they know a lot of this shit, is going back to what you said earlier, is they feel like they've run out of things to talk about. Um, they don't want to repeat themselves. They're scared of it. The thing is, if what you're saying is correct, don't reinvent the wheel. You got to say the same thing over and over again because it's the truth. You can't just start making up lies.
I was going to say, and they also assume that everyone's reading everything they write and waiting for the next instalment. They're not. I have my posts on, I think it's about a 28-day repeating schedule, 3 posts a day. So that's what, 60, 70 odd posts that just keep repeating. And I have the same post going out then every 28 days. And I have the same people liking and commenting on the same post every 28 days. They've forgotten what they've done before. No one has ever said to me, oh, I've seen this one before. A few people have said this one's a bit odd because it mentions people being fully booked until January. And it's, obviously because I've not gone back and edited it to make it temporarily correct. That's just a detail. But the fact is, people just don't notice that I'm repeating myself, or if they do, they don't care. And those who actually care don't matter. What it does do, though, is it fucking sells books, and books means clients. This isn't difficult, people.
Also with the engagement trap is people will see one post and they'll see a bunch of engagement and they'll wrongly attribute that to success. But that could be their only post of the day. Say that post reaches, say, 1,000 people, ton of engagement, etc., etc. I much prefer to have, say, 5 posts that get 200 reach each. So the same total reach, 1,000 for the day, but 200 per post. But I've shown up 5 times at different times of the day, testing various messages, what's resonating, rather than just one shitty engagement post.
And this is getting a bit deeper into it now, which is okay, but because it's what we're doing in core control. And my head's there now because I'm putting together core control. Writing powerful marketing messages is predicated on understanding what you're talking about in terms of how does it resonate with your prospects and your target market. So I mean, my mantra is you don't need to give value. You don't need to solve their problems for free or tell them how to solve their problems. You just need to show them you understand their problems, and they will assume that they will assume you know how to solve them. And then you just give them a call to action saying, if you want help with this, get in touch. That's all it takes. Well, that requires quite a bit of work. When people come into core control or CAF2 before that, or indeed in mentoring, they probably spend the first couple of 3 weeks, the first exercises are really fucking dull and boring and hard work. And it's stuff that they don't want to do because I want to do marketing. I want to do this cool, sexy stuff and get clients. And I tell them, you can't do that right now because if you start putting this stuff out and attracting people, hoping to triage them, you're attracting the wrong people. So your triage is great, but it's still a waste of time because you never get the right people. We need to be very clear about whom it's like sharpening the saw before you cut the tree down. So we talk about rules and boundaries. We talk about what's your ideal life look like. We talk about who's your target market, angels and demons. Demons are even more important than angels. What's your marketing messages? Those 4 or 5 exercises they have to go through before they can even think about, okay, now let's start attracting some prospects so we can deal with them with triage. This is if you want to do it properly. If you don't want to do it properly, then do what the fuck you like.
Mic drop. A good place to leave it.
Yeah, try and be a bit more energetic tomorrow, Connor.
This episode was such a clusterfuck of shit show. I think we kind of rescued it towards the end. Clusterfuck shit show.
I disagree. It's real, it's raw, it's authentic.
So therefore a clusterfuck shit show.
No comment.
What should people do, John?
Fuck off and die. Oh, what should they do? If they want an introduction to our work, they should get the Well-Fed Freelancer. Well-fedfreelancer.com. It's £5 fucking quid and a load of shitty bonuses. But if you really want to
they're not
learn
shitty.
how to do this stuff, no, they're not. If you really want to learn how to do this stuff, email us, holly@wellfedbusiness.com, and she will put you on the list to get the new book we got coming out, or I've got coming out, Well-Fed Business, or the Well-Fed Business Owner, which is like the Well-Fed Freelancer, but a lot more meaty and weighty. And it's not just for freelancers. It's going to be a game changer because there's a lot of shit in there that's not in the Well-Fed Freelancer. It's going to press on the 6th of December. So it's half price until the 6th of December. 10 quid. And it's paper only. We're only selling it as a paper book. Yeah. So you can take it to the toilet with you. Even wipe your bum on it if you want to.
You could rip a few pages out in an emergency. It's all good. Do you ever look at random things and think, I wonder how many calories you are?
No.
Like if I was to eat an entire book, how many calories would that be?
No, I don't. Not ever.
I'm going to find out for the next episode.
That's not something I would waste my time
on. And on that note, goodbye.
Goodbye.